I didn't know my son was not actually mine until he was about 5 years old and had a medical issue. The results of the test made me suspicious, so I had a DNA test done, which was when I found out he wasn't mine. I divorced my ex, but because we were married when he was born and the time I had to challenge the paternity had passed, I was on the hook for child support. I was a broken man afterward and withdrew from all my friends and family. After a couple of years, I started meeting people again. Eventually, I found out that the ex was in a relationship with the affair partner and living with him. This broke me again, so I went back to my isolation. Another year passed and I slowly came back out. It took me some time before I could talk about my past, but when I was able to, my brothers lit a fire under me. I found out through friends that the ex moved in with the boy's father almost immediately after our divorce was finalized, and they've been together ever since. My brothers pushed me to talk to their attorney friend, which I eventually did. He's a business attorney who listened to my history and gave me his opinion. He then recommended me to his friend in a family law firm. In short, I paid almost 4 years of child support. According to my attorney, I have a good chance of stopping the child support payments and recovering at least some or possibly almost all of it because there's social media evidence that the boy was living with his biological father during that time. The attorney said we can nail down the exact date that they lived together during discovery, and then we'll better understand how much we can ask for. After talking with my family, I decided to file a lawsuit to stop and recover my child support payments. I got immediate flack from my friends, ex, and her family. I don't care what the ex and her family have to say, but my friends whom I've known since childhood, they know my ex through me, are saying that they support me in stopping the payments, but I'm going too far in trying to get almost $50,000 back. They said it was spent on the boy, and I should view it as donating to a good cause. I know I'm angry and bitter, but am I wrong for stopping my child support and suing my ex to get it back? Not the idiot. No, you're not wrong. Donation to a good cause? LOL, no. She betrayed you, stabbed you in the back, and then got free money out of you while the kid didn't even need it since he was already living with 2 adults. Don't let people who don't know what they're talking about get in the way. Exactly. He's not your bio kid and therefore not your responsibility. What your ex did to you was callous and indefensible. I'm shocked your friends can't see that you deserve to get your money back because you were taken advantage of. Moving forward, you need to block out what they're saying and surround yourself with a good support system as you get your money back. Your ex messed up and must live with the consequences of her actions. In this case, it means paying back money she has no rights to. Yeah, maybe the friends should donate their own money if they think it's such a good cause. It is ridiculous to think it's okay that they were essentially scamming the OP for money that whole time. He's out $50K, and he shouldn't be out. To recoup that money, he should start a GoFundMe for himself, called the Not My Child Fund. He'd probably get reimbursed faster that way. OMG, brilliant. OP should do this for sure. She scammed you and was getting your money on top of the biological father being in the boy's life. Not only was he not your responsibility, but they both knew he wasn't your responsibility. They enjoyed your money to help fund their lives. They can now enjoy the consequences of their actions. Sue the heck out of her. Money back with interest. A donation. LOL. Ask friends to donate $10K each to your kid and see what they say. Absolute clowns. My husband works 10-hour shifts at a shipyard. He leaves at 8 a.m. and is home by 6:30 p.m. His job is 3 minutes down the street. I work 8-hour shifts at home while also homeschooling our 3 school-age kids, preteen twins and a kindergartner, nursing our infant, and doing all the cooking. We do not homeschool as normal. Schools have been shut down for 5 or 6 weeks after finding lead in the drinking water. But given this, I'm doing far more than my husband is. Not that it's a competition, but let's be real. Well, this past week has been extremely rough on me mentally. There was a death in my family, and another family member was hospitalized in ICU. I'm struggling to power through it while still working, homeschooling, nursing the baby, and cooking alone. My husband is the opposite, though. He isn't even remotely affected by what's going on in my family right now. He didn't know the person who passed away, and he's not close to my hospitalized family member. He checks in on me through text during the day, but he doesn't mention it when he gets home. He doesn't ask me how I am. He grabs his dinner plate and takes the baby to go hang out with him while I clean up. I know it could be argued that he should be helping clean, but my children and I are clean freaks and enjoy cleaning, so that's not an issue. But the night before last, he asked if I could send the kids to bed early, 7 p.m., because he just wanted to relax. I said no. The kids have been great all day, and they weren't even bothering him. So no, they won't be punished for zero reason. Then last night at about 6:50-ish, he said, "So we're sending the kids to bed at 7, right?" I said, "No, why would we?" And he snapped. He said, "I just want to relax without having anyone talk to me after busting my butt all day. I'm tired of working and getting zero downtime," and storms out of the room. This absolutely made me angry because I work full-time and do everything in this house, so I should be the one begging for a break. The kids are in bed by 8, meaning he has 2.5 hours to deal with them daily. But anyway, he comes back in and says, "Sorry, can we please just send them to bed?" I said no and walked away. He's angry at me and says I'm not letting him catch a break once a week. Not the idiot, but if he wants quiet after work, he can find a new place. Rehome him, OP. You can foster another hubby later. You don't banish children an hour early to bed because you want extra time alone. He barely has to parent as it is. Is just seeing them triggering? Oh, poor baby. I swear, what does he think having children is supposed to be like? The kids won't sleep an hour early. They'll be upset and either cry and throw a tantrum, which will be 10 times more disruptive, or they'll be up every 5 minutes asking for water, story time, potty. He can grow up. He lives like a king with a woman who serves the entire family, hand and foot. He can go to bed early, in his room, and he can shut up too. This sounds just like my ex-husband, and he really tried hard to replace me. But I celebrate my 10-year anniversary with my current dear husband, and the ex-husband celebrated his most recent divorce. Replace the man, OP, and please do not have any more kids with this idiot. They don't deserve a father like him. My sister and I are both pregnant currently. My son is due in 2 months, and her daughter's due in 3 months. She was so excited that we're having our first kids around the same time, and we could share our pregnancy journeys with each other. It wasn't as big of a deal for me, but I did like having someone who understood what I was going through with some of the struggles. Early on, she wanted us to talk about names, and I shut her down and told her that I was only interested in discussing names with my husband. I told her it was something the parents shared. She whined a little, but I told her that was a firm boundary for me. She listened for several months and then started sending me name suggestions. She wanted our kids to have similar names. I reminded her that we were not discussing baby names. She found out she was having a girl and chose the name Edith for her. After a while, she told me we needed an old-timey name, just like Edith. A little while after she decided on the name, she sent me a list of vintage and old-school baby names. I sent her yet another reminder that we were not talking about names. A couple of weeks ago, she asked me if we had chosen a name. I told her that we had, but we're not sharing it. She asked me to tell her since we're sisters and are pregnant together. I told her nobody would find out until my son was born. In response, she sent me a list of popular classic boy names. In her comment about the list, she listed her favorites. I ignored her sending me that in her comment completely. Over the weekend, we saw each other for the first time since the last list of names, and she asked me why I wasn't talking about the names with her and why she got the feeling I wasn't hearing any of her suggestions. I told her because I had told her many times it was a discussion for me and my husband alone. She then said I'd never even suggested the names she sent were names I liked. I told her that was because I never asked her to send them. She pestered me for 2 hours to say what I thought of the names. I told her I didn't like any of the names, that we went with a different style of name, and that we didn't want any more suggestions. I told her I never wanted or asked for them, and she ignored my boundaries repeatedly. She left crying and claiming I insulted her taste in names and her daughter's name, since the first big list she sent was named similar in style to Edith, just for boys. She told me I shouldn't insult her names like that. Am I the idiot? Jesus, she can't understand the word no, it seems. Not the idiot, but a break from her is needed. Stop discussing it with her. You've said no. No is a complete sentence. No further words on the subject need to be said on your part. You can't control where she sits. Just keep saying no. Thank you for your unsolicited opinion, but no. I would also try to prevent her from finding out your son's name until your child is born. Otherwise, she may just pick the female version of his name. Holy cow, pushy much? I don't understand why this is such a big deal to her. Put the onus on her to explain herself. Why is this so important? Why won't you respect my boundary? What are we going to do to resolve this, as I'm sure you don't want this ruining every other aspect of our pregnancy and having cousins together? I know, right? OP's sister seems like the type to shove that they're practically twins. They're going to be best friends and do everything together at OP's house. And I know better than OP, so I can discipline and parent her son too, type. She's demanding matching names and naming someone else's child. I already feel sorry for little Edith. My daughter's in a class that only allows the students to go on a field trip if they have an A in the class. It's like a bonus for doing well. She's known about this for a long time, and I have been up to date with their teacher since she struggles sometimes. Everyone gets to go on the trip due to the bonus point situation. The issue is that my daughter has yet to do a single bonus point assignment at all, and she has a B in the class. If she had done every 2-minute bonus point assignment, she easily could have been having an A. My son took this class, and he did every bonus assignment, and he got 100 in the class, even after he turned in his final blank. This class is to prepare you for the SAT, so it's really not a hard class, but you need to do the work. Anyway, she came home and was informed she wasn't eligible for the field trip and would stay behind in the library with everyone else. She's been upset since. We argued after she asked me to talk to the teacher. I told her no, and now my husband's also on her side. They both think I'm an idiot. Not the idiot. What you're doing is allowing her to experience the consequences of her own actions. Getting to go on a field trip is not a human right. Moving forward, though, it might be helpful for you, and especially for her, to understand why she didn't do the bonus assignments. Did she think the consequences wouldn't apply to her? Has she been dealing with a tough time that you aren't aware of? Does she feel like she's losing in a secret competition with her brother? Whatever the reasons, knowing what's going on will open up the potential to learn from this situation. I agree with the first part, not the second. She could just be lazy and expect her parents to complain at the school to make it equal. Considering the husband's response, she's most likely used to getting her way when she hasn't earned it. What exactly are you supposed to say to the teacher? LOL. My daughter was lazy and didn't do the work, but I still want you to let her go on the reward trip. LOL. If your husband is that bad at parenting that he'd support that, then he should be the one to talk to the teacher. Thank you for not being that parent. The conditions of the trip are clear, and your daughter didn't meet them. I tend to think there's always a reason for what we think of as lazy, even if the reason is you don't give a crap. Also, I was called lazy all the time. Turns out it was undiagnosed ADHD. ADHD is very different in girls and women and can be missed a lot of the time. Our brains just don't work the same as most. About 2.5 months ago, my older cousin, 27 female, and her boyfriend, 25, moved into my house because of certain circumstances. I happily accepted them into my home because she and I were always close growing up. I'm 26 years old. I work part-time while still making enough money to pay all my bills and still have more than enough to spend on myself. My cousin, on the other hand, lost her job and her boyfriend's still pulling the "I'm trying to work on my business" crap. For the first couple of weeks, everything was fine. Only when a full month had passed did I notice that they weren't exactly the tidiest types. I don't have OCD or anything, so I just kindly told them to start picking up behind themselves and maybe do some chores around the house, since they weren't paying rent. It was nice for the next few weeks, and they did everything I asked of them. It was when the 2-month mark hit that I completely lost it. I had gone out of town for just a week to meet up with some friends for a wedding and a little time to myself. During that time, they had somehow listed my house on Airbnb, and I returned to it almost completely trashed. I, of course, yelled at everyone involved and said some very not nice things. But can you blame me? My house was beautiful and cost a pretty penny. The two were almost always respectful, so I'd never expected them to pull something like that. I called her mom and explained everything to her and tried my best not to just completely throw them out because I didn't want them to become homeless. During my phone call, she made a few of her own. I had gotten some very nice and peaceful phone calls from multiple family members cussing me out and saying that my cousin had called them crying. They said that I was trying to throw them out for trying to make some money. I told her, "You've overstayed your welcome and are trying to play the victim? I want you out by morning." Ever since then, I've been getting many phone calls and text messages blaming me for the whole fiasco. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Did you take pictures of the damage? You really should have, both for your annoying family members and so that you can make it crystal clear to your cousin that you're already very generous by not suing. Contact Airbnb and report them, then file a police report. Also, change your locks and invest in cameras. You don't try to make money off of someone else's home. SMH. Also, they didn't ask first because they knew they were doing the wrong thing. Honey must suck to come from a family where you genuinely can't tell if you're justified in this scenario. Your entire family is nuts to enable them. Listing someone else's house on Airbnb when you're away, and they're pretending that makes you a bad person? These folks deserve to be thrown out ASAP. You are far too kind. LOL, classic entitled people. Bill them for the cleanup and repairs and send requests for the family to support them and contribute their money if they won't. Also, go no contact with this cousin and tell her if she's not leaving at this moment, you will call the cops and consider a lawsuit because she rented out your house and trashed it without your permission. Update. Thank you for the comments. I appreciate the feedback. I have threatened to sue, but they offered to just pay for everything. So I think a non-lawful agreement can be made.